The great hall of the Lateran Palace blazed with 1,000 candles on the evening of Corpus Christi, 1233. Their flames danced against frescoed walls, depicting Christ's triumph over the serpent. The air hung thick with frankincense and roasted swan, with power and ceremony. At the high table, Pope Gregory IX raised a jeweled chalice. Despite his 86 years, his hands remained steady. Candlelight caught the rubies in his cup and transformed the wine into something that looked like blood. "To the purification of Christendom," he announced, "to the cleansing of heresy, to the sacred work that begins with Vox in Rama." The assembled prelates echoed his toast and drank deep. In the corner, a scribe's quill scratched across parchment, recording what would become a death warrant for millions of innocent creatures. The words being written concerned cats. The Holy Father had declared war on cats. "The servants of Satan take many forms," Gregory continued, warming to his sermon. "They disguise themselves as household animals. The heretics of the Rhine confess to worshipping demons that appear as cats, demons that transform from feline to human and back again in their obscene rituals." The assembly murmured in righteous horror. Tomorrow the decree would be official. Tomorrow the purge would begin. In the shadows, one young monk slipped away, his mind racing with terrible understanding. He had grown up on a farm. He knew what happened to granaries without cats. He knew what was about to unfold. But who listens to a simple monk when a pope has spoken? June 13, 1233, the Basilica of St. John Lateran. The papal bull was read after morning mass, the words echoing through the cavernous basilica. "A voice has reached us, mourning and great lamentation. The heretics receive demons in the form of cats, black cats that they kiss and worship. We therefore command that these cats, these vessels of Satan's trickery, be destroyed wherever they are found. Let no Christian harbor them, feed them, or show them mercy." The decree was absolute. The logic seemed sound to those gathered. If heretics worshipped cats, then cats must be instruments of evil. The matter was settled. What followed was systematic and swift. August 1233. The streets of Rome. The smell reached the marketplaces first, burning fur and flesh. In the Campo di Fiori, a bonfire crackled at the square's center. Young men threw cats from cages into the flames, while a priest blessed each offering. "Servants of Satan," he shouted, "back to the inferno." A fishmonger clutched with tabby cat, refusing to let go even as men tried to take it. The cat had kept her shop free of rats for 5 years. It had never harmed anyone. "Please, she's just a mouser." They ripped the cat from her arms and threw it into the fire. The woman collapsed, keening with grief that no one acknowledged. After all, it was just an animal, a creature the Pope himself had declared demonic. Across Rome, across Italy, across all of Christendom, similar scenes played out. In city squares and village greens, cats were rounded up and killed. Some were burned. Others were drowned in rivers or beaten to death against walls. It didn't matter if they were household pets or working mouses. The decree made no distinction. 4,000 cats were destroyed in the Rhine Valley alone, perhaps tens of thousands across Europe, maybe more. No one kept an exact count. Not everyone obeyed. In the grand palaces of Rome, in the modest homes of merchants, in the cottages of farmers who understood the balance of nature, some chose quiet rebellion. They hid their cats in cellars and back rooms. They claimed their cats had run away or died of natural causes. They lied to inquisitors and prayed their deception wouldn't be discovered. One noblewoman kept a black kitten hidden in the folds of her cloak, her heart racing every time she passed church officials. She had found it in the market moments before a mob descended. Some instinct made her save it, tuck it close to her body, and walk away as if nothing was wrong. She named the kitten Umbra, Shadow, and kept it in her private chambers, telling her servants she needed isolation for prayer. The servants knew better, but said nothing. Loyalty sometimes meant keeping dangerous secrets. At night, she would watch Umbra hunt mice in her garden, sleek and efficient in the moonlight, and she would wonder what madness had gripped the world, that this beautiful, useful creature was now considered demonic. But she kept her thoughts to herself. Speaking them aloud could mean arrest, trial, imprisonment, or worse. The Inquisition was always listening. September 1233. The Rhine Valley. The rats came with autumn. In villages where cats had once kept their numbers down, now rats moved freely. They appeared in daylight, sleek and fearless. They invaded granaries and homes. They nested in church rafters and palace walls. Reports began reaching Rome. Grain stores were being destroyed. Children were bitten in their sleep. Disease was spreading in ways it hadn't before. Letters arrived at the Vatican from bishops and merchants, from farmers and mayors. All described the same problem. Without cats, rats were multiplying out of control. Perhaps, they suggested carefully, there could be some modification to the decree, some distinction between cats used for heresy and cats kept purely for pest control. Pope Gregory read each letter in stony silence, then filed them away. The decree would stand. To change it now would be to admit error, to admit that the successor of St. Peter, speaking on matters of faith, could be mistaken. The authority of the Church itself rested on that infallibility. Besides, Gregory reasoned, the rats were merely a test of faith. Those who trusted in God would endure. Those who had relied on creatures now revealed as demonic would face the consequences of their misplaced trust. In his private chambers at night, rats darted along the walls. Gregory had ordered traps and poison, but they kept coming. The papal apartments, he noticed, had been much quieter when his own cat, Sanctus, had still lived there. But the thought was quickly dismissed. Surely that was mere coincidence. Summer 1234. Rome. The hidden cat survived for nearly a year before discovery was inevitable. The Inquisition received word that a noblewoman in Rome was harboring a cat in defiance of vox in Rema. They didn't yet know which household, but they were searching. The noblewoman received a warning letter from her own brother, a cardinal. He begged her to destroy the evidence before it was too late, to think of her soul, her family's honor, her obedience to Holy Mother Church. She burned the letter and looked at Umbra, now grown into a sleek young tom, sitting in the window like a small sphinx. "I should give you up," she whispered to him, "for my soul, for my family." But she didn't. When the Inquisition came 3 days later, breaking down her doors at dawn, she didn't deny anything. Yes, she harbored a cat. Yes, she had defied the papal decree. No, she wouldn't claim it was a demon. It was just a cat, a creature that kept her chambers free of rats and had never harmed anyone. The trial was brief. She refused to recant. Her brother, it turned out, had been the one to report her, to save her soul, he claimed, to force her into obedience before it was too late. She was sentenced to life imprisonment in a penitential monastery. The cat, they told her, had been found in her garden and destroyed. She couldn't tell if they were lying, but it didn't matter anymore. They led her away in chains to spend the rest of her life in an 8-by-6 cell, sleeping on stone, eating gruel, praying 8 times daily for the sin of showing mercy to an animal. Behind the monastery walls, she could hear the rats at night, scratching, squealing, growing bolder. 1243, 10 years later. Pope Gregory IX died in August at the age of 97, having never ascended Roxy Rama. Those present at his deathbed reported strange last words. "The cats, I see them, waiting." But Gregory had been delirious with fever for days. His cardinals dismissed it as the ramblings of a dying mind. At his funeral, even the Lateran Palace itself was infested with rats. They darted behind the altar during the Mass, bold enough to appear even in such sacred space. The cardinals frowned, but said nothing. It was unseemly to acknowledge vermin during such a solemn occasion. The new pope was elected. Life continued. And in the East, something was stirring. Something that traveled along trade routes, carried by rats, spread by fleas. Something with a name that would echo through history.